2 years ago, Haiti's devastating earthquake claimed the lives of 300,000 Haitians. An estimated $12 billion of international aid poured in, including donations from half of American households. But Haiti is still the poorest nation in the Western Hemisphere. The streets of Port-au-Prince remain unpaved, laden with trash and sewage. Some 500,000 Haitians still live in tent cities, and Haiti is now home to thousands of non-governmental organizations, or NGOs.
I would call now Haiti, it's like the Republic of the NGOs.
Max Chauvet, co-owner of Le Nouveliste, Haiti's leading newspaper, wonders what happened to all the money.
We don't know yet how many goes to the people. And if it goes to the people, there will be NGO, but I definitely think we need more transparency.
Kelly Kobza felt the same way after volunteering with an NGO in Port-au-Prince.
Most North American people who come and live in Haiti live on compounds. They have razor wire around the walls of the compound. And I just think that how can you be helping and how can you really instill the idea that we're all just human, you know, if you're keeping lines of division?
Minimum wage in Haiti is $5 a day for those lucky enough to get a job. When an NGO offered Kelly $50,000 a year to hand out bags of rice, she'd had enough. Kelly moved to the island of La Gonave, 40 miles by boat from Port-au-Prince. With limited resources, Kelly started her own grassroots project in the main village on the island. It's called Greater Good Haiti, or Pigua Bien. No wealthy corporations back them. It's just a small nonprofit with a big concept: local people serving local people.
I want to see the kids develop a sense of belonging here to Pigua Bien, right?
Co-founder Jean-Max Augustin grew up on the island.
Pigua Bien is really an idea, right? It's not like an organization with like rules and like things like that, but it's more like of an idea.
One form it took was a small school for 12 of the local children. Kelly hired a Haitian woman to teach them how to read and write.
They come with no letter recognition, no alphabet sense, they don't even know how to read and write their own name. When I sit down next to Kimberly and she reads to me a whole paragraph and follows her little finger and reads this and then turns and looks at me with her eyes so bright and so happy, and I just think, this is why I do what I do.
Pigua Bien ouais éducation sociale et puis culturelle d'abord, l'autre yo c'est pas ça qui ouais.
Jean-Ezekiel Clotaire, who runs the local radio station in Anse A Galets, recently recognized Pigua Bien with an award for the most effective organization on the island.
Bon, les différents de l'autre par rapport que grand pile organisation pour yo penser yo atterrir avec objectif yo c'est ba moun manger, c'est ba moun cob, mais Pigua Bien différent des organisations ça yo.
The school depends on the meager funds Kelly raises when she's back in California. She advertises on Facebook, talks to small groups, and taps family and friends for donations.
I take their money in my hand and I come here and I hand it to Carol, and she goes to the store and she buys food and she cooks a big pot of food. That's rewarding because many of these people wouldn't eat. The kids who come to our program, they wouldn't get a meal every day.
I can see in the kids' eyes and stuff that, you know, they really look happy here, and you know, they're forming like a new family between themselves. It's just beautiful.
Oui, ça, en Haïti, sans l'école, pas la vie.
Local volunteers like Kaba, Tuen, and Jean make Pigua Bien more than a school. Last year, they planted trees in a nearby ravine to help combat soil erosion and drought.
So we planted 1,800 trees over the course of about 6 months.
But nearly half of the trees are gone. Villagers harvest them for firewood, and animals eat them.
Cattle are a big problem. You can see that the animals, the cattle, have been eating off the tree. All that remains at the tippy top. It looked like one of the Lorax's trees, you know?
Volunteers also built a water catchment system to harvest rainwater because fresh water on the island is scarce and local fountains are always crowded.
Well, from the very get-go, I wanted to live a Haitian lifestyle, so I do. I don't have a toilet, I don't have running water, but this is grassroots. This is how it goes.
Structural organizations that are operating here on the island, they're from elsewhere, right? They're more like imported projects. Pigouabian was born here.
And now it's thriving here as a community gathering place for sports, workshops, even weddings. But Pigouabian's future is uncertain.
School can never be sustainable. We will always need donations to do what I'm doing, always. And that's unfortunate. I'd love to say we could find a sustainable way to run a school, but how?
It costs $1,000 a month to run Pigouabian, including food, the salaries for the cook and teacher, and rent.
He came yesterday to collect the rent, and I'm supposed to pay him the full year's rent, and I could only pay for 1 month. We're barely surviving on what we do. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
Still, Kelly holds on to the hopes of surviving. She sees Pigouabian as having succeeded where large NGOs have failed, by working for the local people with the local people.
Success of our humanity depends on our humanity. And if we don't understand the weakest link, we're never going to make it anywhere. We think we're so high and mighty, but look at what's happening on the planet around us. And, you know, that's hard. It's hard.